The science behind losing trades. Why does your brain do what it does? Why does your brain go into the spiral? And what can you actually do to stop it happening? I want to take a second and talk about something that no one in the trading space really talks about, touches on, or is even really honest about. All the videos we hear is, what's the best strategy? Where are we getting in? What's the best indicator? What's the risk management? What's the prop firm rules? How do you scale your capital and all the sexy stuff, right? That sounds great because that's what sells courses. That's what sells mentorship. So that's what all of the videos on YouTube are about. That's cool. That's fine. But I'm more interested in the things that are actually going to improve your trading, that will actually impact your trading the most to where you're starting to actually achieve these results and be consistently profitable. And one of those topics that I'm actually going to talk to you about today is what actually happens inside of your body the moment you take a loss. I spent 3 years losing. If you're unfamiliar with my journey, I spent the first 3 years of my trading journey just losing brutal, year after year after year, probably a bit longer than 3 years, just straight up red, making no money, bleeding cash. And it's not because my strategy was bad. I was overcomplicating my strategy, but that's another story for another day. It wasn't because I didn't understand how to read the charts. Technical analysis doesn't take that long to learn, but it was because every time I lost, every single time, something happened in my brain that made me do the exact thing that I knew I shouldn't do. Have you ever had that? You take a loss, you follow that loss with an action of something you damn well know that you shouldn't be doing, yet you do it anyway, like you're possessed. Like you've got no control over yourself whatsoever. Constant revenge trading, constant over trading, constantly blowing up funding accounts, losing a lot of my own personal money on my live accounts, did it all for a very long time, okay? And I used to think that I had a willpower problem. I used to think it was because I wasn't disciplined enough. I didn't have the right habits. It was a me problem. I couldn't do it. Like every other trader out there had locked into their discipline, and it was just me that seemed to not be able to get it. So I read all the books like this one, all of the habit, like there are heaps of these habit books. Actually a pretty good book, but the habit books didn't help my trading at all. Like I read all the things, why we do what we do and how to change it. Like I understand. I understand. I needed better habits. I needed to be more disciplined. I read the David Goggins, all of that stuff. I did all of that. Hit the books, read all of them on discipline, habits, but the problem still occurred. I was still showing up. I was still doing the same thing over and over again. Then through a random, almost spiritual, I would say, series of events, of circumstances that occurred in my life, I ended up diving heavily into neuroscience, to the science of the brain. And that's where I found out where my problem actually was. And once I understood what was actually happening to my brain, scientifically happening, I could finally start building a plan for how I was going to fix it. So that's what this video is going to be about. It's not going to be super long, but it's going to be an actual science of why we self-destruct after a losing trade and exactly what you can do to stop it. All right, let's talk about exactly what's happening inside your brain when you lose a trade. The moment you close, flatten, exit, whatever it is, a losing trade, whether your stop loss has been hit or you close it manually, your brain does something very, very specific. It releases cortisol, right? Cortisol is our stress hormone. So when we feel stressed, that's the hormone that gets released into our body. And it spikes really hard and it spikes really fast. In the exact same way that if you were being physically threatened, same exact scenario, your body literally cannot tell the difference between if you are being chased by a hungry ass lion and whether you lose $500 on trading NASDAQ. I can't tell the difference. Like really understand that. Your brain doesn't know if you're being chased by a group of hooligans carrying knives or whether you just took a loss on your funded account. The threat response is exactly identical. The same thing, the cortisol release is the exact same chemistry inside your brain. You see, the cortisol does something very, very specific to your brain. It starts shutting down the part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex. That's this front part here, the prefrontal cortex. This is the part of your brain that is responsible for rational thinking. It's responsible for impulse control, long-term decision making, logic. This is the reason why you can set goals and you can set plans. This is the reason why you know not to touch certain substances, to stay away from certain things because you know they're harmful for you. This is the logical, long-term decision-making part of your brain. The cortisol shuts that off. So the part of your brain that knows your rules, the part of your brain that sat down and built the trade plan for you, that's done the back testing, that goes completely offline. Blank. Nothing's home. Lights it off. Nothing's firing, lights are off, offline completely. And at the same time, your amygdala, which is this part, so if this is the prefrontal cortex here, this part of your brain is the amygdala. That part of your brain that runs on pure emotion, pure survival instinct, that takes over completely. This is off, no one's home, this lights up, okay? The amygdala we need. We wouldn't have been able to survive being chased by lions if we didn't have the amygdala. If you need to get out of a fight or flight situation where you are being threatened and you just have to turn everything off and just run for your life, you need this part of your brain working. So when we take that loss, this shuts off, this turns on. Your emotional brain is now in the driver's seat and your logical brain locked in the boot. This is completely running the show, and this is having a snooze in the back seat or in the boot. Nothing's firing here. And this is exactly why revenge trading feels so urgent. It feels so compulsive. Like you don't even get a second really to react. You feel like you look back on the mess after you come out of the haze of a revenge trading session. You're like, what just happened? Did my brain just get hijacked? Did I just get possessed by something else? Like, what's going on? It's not you being weak and undisciplined. It's literally your nervous system doing exactly what it's designed to do. And it's designed to eliminate the threat as fast as possible. That's how you're alive. That's how our ancestors are alive. That's how we became top of the food chain. By having this part of our brain turn off and having our threat elimination part of the brain turn on, keep us alive. And there's a second thing though. There's a second thing that's happening at the same time, right? So that turns off, boom, turns off, amygdala turns on. So the second thing that's happening too is your brain also has a dopamine system, your reward and motivation circuit, all right? And when you want to trade, dopamine floods in. Feels great, feels amazing, feels euphoric, feels awesome. It reinforces that behavior, feels good to trade. I'm so smart, I'm such a good trader, I'm feeling euphoric, I'm feeling happy. But when you lose, the dopamine supply cuts off instantly. Caps are done. We turn it straight off, there's nothing flowing. Your brain notices that deficit instantly and it starts craving to hit that hit of dopamine back again. And that's the I need to get this back feeling that you're feeling. I need to get this back from the markets. I need to win this trade and get the money I just lost back. That's your dopamine system in withdrawal. It's screaming to you to take another trade. It's literally like, okay, pick something that you're super addicted to. For me, coffee would be my number one addiction, I would say. I'm addicted to caffeine. I have to go on periods of time where I force myself off it to reset my system. And when I go off the coffee, my brain is screaming at me. Headaches, I don't feel well. There's a voice in my head that's saying, just drink it, you'll feel better. Just drink it, just drink it, just drink it. Maybe that's for you sugar, could be alcohol, I don't know. Whatever your vice is, we all have something. When you stop that vice that you're addicted to, and you get no dopamine from it anymore, it floods in, right? And you're screaming to you, I need to get it back. So what's happening when you lose a trade? The dopamine cuts off, you lose that trade, and your system is literally yelling at you to get that money back. And to make it even more fun for you, there's even another layer, right? If that wasn't enough, there's another layer. There's this concept in behavioral economics called loss aversion. It was proved by a psychologist called Daniel Kahneman, and he wrote a book called Thinking Fast and Slow, I believe. Very good book. And his research shows that the pain of losing money is psychologically twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining the same amount. So if you lose $500, that genuinely feels twice as bad as if you had won $500. So that already offsets us to be more emotionally affected from losing than from winning as well. And that's just how the human brains are wired. There's nothing we can do about that. That's just the card. This is what we have to work with. Right now, let's put all those three things together. Okay, the first thing, your cortisol shutting off. Your rational brain, your logical brain, it's done. Cortisol's turned it off. They're not home. Dopamine withdrawal is making you chase something. It's making you chase that loss. And then the loss aversion is now doubling the emotional pain. Put those together and you get a trader sitting at their desk completely hijacked. Opening trade after trade after trade they never plan to take. That's the outcome. That's why you revenge trade. That's why you spiral. That's why you overtrade. It's a biological concoction of multiple things firing at once that makes it incredibly difficult to not do. So if you're doing it, be easy on yourself. Okay, your brain is doing what it's meant to do. It's doing what it's wired to do, which is to keep you alive. All right, that was me too. That was me for many years. There are stuff we can do though to rewire it because we don't need this running all the time. We're not always in threat. If I lose a trade on NASDAQ today, it's not because I'm going to die and be mauled by a lion. So we can rewire our brain. Luckily, our brain is super malleable. It's always moving and changing and shifting and learning and absorbing. So we can rewire it, right? So this is what we're going to cover now. Quickly before though, I just want you to know the revenge trading cycle, okay? Let me just walk you through it, what it actually looks like, because I want you to see that this might be within yourself. And when you can notice that's within yourself, that's when we can change it. You take a trade. It's a good setup. You followed your plan. Pat yourself on the back. Well done. But the market moves against you and you get stopped out for a loss. Let's just say $300. In that moment, your brain gets flooded with the cortisol, your prefrontal cortex starts going offline, and you feel this urgent, almost physical need to get that $300 back right now. So you're looking for your next trade, but your rational brain is now impaired, right? So you're not seeing the charts clearly. You're not seeing the bigger picture. You're seeing what you want to see. You want to take a trade, and that trade doesn't really fit your criteria because your emotional brain is now running the analysis. So that trade loses too. Now you're down $600. Even worse, right? And what happens after a loss? Well, the cortisol, it spikes again. The dopamine deficit is bigger. Loss aversion pain is doubled. So the urgency then gets stronger, and you need to get back even more. So you size up because you need to recover faster. Now you're not just recovering $300, but you're recovering $600. That trade loses, and now you're down $1,200. You're deep in what I call the spiral. Then by this point, your nervous system is so activated that you basically have no access to your rational mind at all. Like at this point, if you've gone down that, you have no option other than to stop trading. Your brain can't come back from that. Doesn't, and it won't. And you're not trading anymore. You're just straight up gambling. There's nothing different from you just going down to the casino and putting random bets on a roulette wheel. That's literally the same thing. You're in pure survival mode and you're trying to make the pain stop. That's it. I don't want you to feel like I'm throwing stones at you, or maybe I'm calling you out here, because I've been in that spiral more times than you. I guarantee it. More times than I would care to admit, more times than I would admit to myself, probably. And I've sat at my desk for 8 hours at a time trying to get back $200, $300, and ended up losing $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 because of it. So I know the pain better than anybody. I have blown funded accounts that has taken me weeks to earn. I have lost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of my own capital, and it's not because I didn't know better, because at this point I did know better. I did know better. I do know better. It's because I didn't understand fully the cycle and the science behind what was happening, and so I had no system to interrupt it. So I just kept showing up and doing the same thing, thinking it's just because I'm not disciplined enough, just because don't have enough habits in place. I'm not strong-willed enough to not do it. Willpower's got nothing to do with this. Willpower is fleeting. Okay? You need a system to interrupt your brain. That's it. All right. How do we stop it? We understand now what's happening. How do we actually stop it? And here's what actually worked for me. And I want to be clear, this isn't just a mindset tweak or a piece of advice. Like, these are specific practical things that interrupt the neurological cycle before it actually takes over and takes over you. I know this works because this allowed me to quit my job, my corporate rat race career, 2021, and do this full time. And I have been doing this full time ever since. And this is also the reason how I have grown my personal trading capital, not prop funds, no prop funds included in this sum, to over 7 figures from $100, right? This is how I know that this works, because I've done it. And without doing something and putting this in place, it's going to be very hard to achieve. All right, number 1, pre-decide your daily loss limit and treat it as a hard stop. Before you sit down to trade, you decide, if I lose X amount of dollars today, or if I lose X number of trades today, I am done. There's no exception. No just one more, nothing else. I am done. I don't care if you do that within the first 2 minutes of your trading session. You're done for the day. Tap out, go do something else, learn, backtest, whatever, but you're not trading anymore. The reason this works is that your pre-trading brain is the calm, rational one. That's the prefrontal cortex version of you. That makes the rules, not the hijacked version. And if you write into your trade plan and treat it as just a non-negotiable, you're borrowing your future rational self to protect you from your future emotional self. And that's what we're trying to do. Let the rational version of you protect you from the emotional version of you. For me, my daily loss limit is firm. And when I hit that, I close the platform. I close TradingView. I don't look at it again. That's me. That's done. Full stop. I go on with my day. If you don't have the willpower or you just don't feel like you can trust yourself to put a non-negotiable hard stop in there, you can activate a hard lock on TradeAway, on Project X. If you're using those platforms, you can do that. You can set up these things that will literally shut down the systems for you. So you can't even trade if you want to. Number 2, create a mandatory cooling off period after any loss. Quite important, this one. And it's not just for big losses. It's just for any loss. You lose, you need a mandatory cooling off period. After every losing trade, I used to have this rule, 5 minutes minimum before I can even look at another setup again. I'll get up from my desk, put my phone down, I'll walk away from my screen, and I'll just do something physical. And for me, it would be to dance. It's just what I do, put on some music, just move my body around, shake it around, be crazy, whatever, dance around. And even if it's just walking to another room, picking up a glass of water, having a glass of water, whatever you need to do. This matters because cortisol has a half-life. So it takes time to actually clear from your system. When it spikes into your system, you need to give it time before it to go away. 5 or 10 minutes of just physical movement, moving around, stretching, whatever it is, it accelerates that process, clears it out of your system far quicker. So you're literally just giving your prefrontal cortex time to activate again, to come back online and make your next decision. Number 3, learn to recognize your warning signs. It's all different. This one's really personal and it takes time to develop, but it's probably the most important, probably the thing you need to really focus on the most, is that everyone has a physical tell when you're in a revenge trading spiral or when you're about to be in a revenge trading spiral. Mine, throwing them out there, my breathing starts getting shallower. I focus a lot on breath work, so I'm constantly remembering to breathe deeply, and my breath starts getting shallow. I feel it. My jaw, it starts tightening. I can feel it in my jaw, and I clench. I'm tense. I clench everything, including my fists. I feel frustrated in my chest, which might sound weird if that doesn't come to you, but it's like a pressure. You feel like this pressure, tightness. When I feel that, I know I'm hijacked. I'm gone. Rational Schnell's gone. You start noticing yours. Start figuring out what your tells are. After you lose a trade, check in with your body. Are you tense? Are you breathing faster? Are you thinking about the loss that you just had? Are you thinking about what ifs, hindsight? Those are all signals that your emotional brain is running things. It's not your logical brain anymore. And awareness alone gives you the moment to actually pause. Number 4 is to journal every single losing trade. And this isn't to beat yourself up. Journal winning trades too, but sometimes people feel inclined to skip the losers because it makes them feel bad. So you're doing it to find a pattern. It's important. You need to find the pattern here. When I started journaling, I realized that 80% of if I blew up an account or went on a streak of losing a lot of money in my personal, it would follow the same sequence, more or less, the same sequence. One unexpected loss. So I could usually handle 1 loss or 2 losses that fit my plan really well, and that wouldn't necessarily send me to spiral. But if I took a trade that I knew didn't fit my plan, or if there was an unexpected news or something happened that, I really didn't prepare for, that would often make me follow by 2 revenge trades. And those 2 revenge trades would then follow into a spiral. That was the pattern. Time and time again. I could see that quite clearly when I started writing it, when I started reviewing my own data, when I started doing my self-review every week. I couldn't unsee it then. It was very clear what was happening. And your journal doesn't need to be complicated. You want the date, you want the setup, you want the result, you want how you felt, you want to write down the triggers that we just talked about. And that's it. And over time, your data is going to show you exactly where your specific danger zone is. I also do a morning check-in. So a pre-session check-in. So whatever session you trade, this is my mission control. This has got all of my information for a trading journal, trade plan, my backtesting lab, my weekly ASR, every single thing I'm reviewing and monitoring, and it's got the morning check-in right at the top. The morning check-in is going to allow me to rate myself how I'm feeling at the start of the day. There will be a pattern there at the end of the week. Hey, those losing days I was feeling a bit unsettled or a bit unflat. It's usually not on days where I'm feeling in flow or sharp or confident. It's usually the other end of the spectrum. So I'm highlighting how I'm feeling. How did I sleep? How's my stress levels? What's my intention for the day? What's the pre-trade checklist? Making sure I've gone through everything. Okay. And then I can write anything else that's on my mind and I can save that in. I can save that check-in. And then by the end of the week, when I review all of my trades, I also pull in my morning check-in. I also pull in all the data from how I'm feeling before the trade day even begins. And that gives me a lot of insight. It gives me a lot of insight on finding patterns of where I might spiral or I might take unnecessary losing trades. Number 5 is separate your self-worth from your P&L, your profit and loss. And this one's a little bit deeper, maybe a little bit woo-woo for some, but I do have to say it. And it's a lot of traders, including myself for many years, you tie your identity to whether you made money that day or not. Whether the green day means you're a good trader, a red day means you're a failure. And your worth as a person feels like it's on the line with every single trade. The emotional stakes become, quite frankly, unbearable because you've put so much of your self-worth, what you feel and believe about yourself, on the ability to whether you had a profitable day or a non-profitable day in the markets. A loss is just data. That's it. Even if it's a loss of probabilities playing out, you followed your plan perfectly, it might not be too much to pull from that. That's just the dice roll happening. Or if you didn't follow your plan, it's still data. It's great data to have. You're going to find that pattern quicker. You're going to course correct it quicker. So therefore, you're going to get your result quicker. And it tells you something about market conditions, a loss. It can tell you about your execution. It can tell you about your setup. If you're willing to look at the data clearly, but it says nothing about who you are as a person and whether you're going to make it as a trader. A losing day, a losing week, a losing month does not entail whether you're going to make it in this journey or not. The traders who do make it, the traders who make it long term are not the ones who never lose. I lose trades. This is just part of the game. They're the ones who have a healthy, neutral relationship with losing. I have put a plan in place and I have studied the art of losing. losing. I am now a good loser. And that has helped my trading tenfold. If you have a healthy, neutral relationship with taking a loss and you can log it and you can move on without any of the drama, you're going to make it. Just going to make it. That's what it is. People who can do that, they're going to be the ones that make it. If you currently can't do that, don't worry. That was me. That's okay. But you need to do these steps and you need to take it seriously. That takes time to build. All of this takes time to build. But it starts with understanding what you felt after the loss. That urgency, that desperation, that compulsion. That was your brain, doing what it's wired to do. Doing what it's built to do. And now hopefully you know how to work with it instead of against it. Saying that you need to be this robot that doesn't react to losses is never going to happen. We're emotional human beings. This is how we're wired. But understanding the neuroscience behind it is going to allow you to build the plan around it. And all I'll say in my closing words, if you clicked on this video, you're already showing up as the trader who's taking this seriously. You're already ahead of a lot of people. Most just straight up ignore these types of videos. They're going to scroll past just hoping to find the next 100% strategy, win rate strategy that just doesn't exist, right? They're looking for the strategy that takes away the pain of losing, and that blatantly just doesn't exist out there. So because you're different, I'm going to want you to do one thing, and I want you to write down right now what your daily loss limit is and what your cooling off rule is. So if you hit your daily loss limit, you hit a loss, what's the number where you're turning it off for the day? And then what are you doing in between those losses? What's your cooling off rule? Do that before your next session. Do it right now if you have time, because the time to work on your rules and build your rules isn't when you're spiraling, it's right now. When your prefrontal cortex is activated, you're fully online and you're thinking clearly and logically. All right, I spent 3 years losing because nobody explained this to me. I don't want that for you. You don't have to follow that journey. And if you are guilty and have ever revenge traded, drop a comment below, because you're not alone. You will see that it's just a rite of passage. Every one of us does it. It's literally just your brain being human. It's your brain doing what it's meant to do. It's the reason you're alive. And the best part is that you absolutely can fix this.